How's it going, everyone? I promised in one of my videos I would talk about uh, this. Well, I finally finished it. I know it took a while, but I finished it, so I thought I would talk about it, give you my opinion on it. If you haven't heard about this game, Infamous, it's from Sucker Punch, the guys who are responsible for the Sly Cooper series that was on the PS2. I only played a little bit of the first one, but I was really impressed with it. Infamous is kind of a change in direction for these guys. I mean, it's a superhero game. You play as this guy named Cole. You can see him on the cover there. Yeah, you play as him, and basically what happens, the game starts off with an explosion happening in the city, and it just levels like most of the historic district. During this time, Cole falls into a coma, and the world and the city around him starts going right to hell. I mean, there's a plague, and there are now 3 gangs that run the city, one for each of the districts, which are the Warren, the Historic District, and the Neon District. However, Cole gets superpowers, as I said. This is a superhero game, and his superpower is electricity. You basically start off with something simple like a pea shooter, just like your simple shots, but as you start restoring power to parts of the district, you'll unlock new abilities. I don't want to spoil too many, so I'll just give you stuff you get at the beginning. Some of the stuff you can get is like grinding on power lines or the train rails. Or another one is the ability to zoom in with your shot and perform precision aim. That's another useful feature I found. There are among other powers, but as I said, I don't want to spoil too many of them. In terms of how it actually plays surprisingly well, and it's very easy to control, actually. Same thing, left stick move, right stick aim. You basically hold down L1 to activate your aim mode, and it's simple enough. R1 fires, and you use the face buttons here to pull off some of Cole's other abilities. Circle is your default dodge ability, and that's going to come in handy. One thing I did find interesting, though, was at the beginning, you go through a little bit of you go through like maybe 30 minutes to an hour, and the game decides on a difficulty for you. For me, when I played, it defaulted to hard, and I thought it was just me or the game, but for some it's defaulted to normal or easy. So that conclusion comes. The game picks what's good for you. One thing I did notice is that it is fairly balanced. The missions in themselves are actually fairly interesting, and they move the story along quite well. There are some that, especially on the hard mode, that will have you curious, like, okay, they may take a while. Some of the missions are a little dumb or boring, specifically side missions, but they're all entertaining in their own right. I brought up side missions because, yeah, some of them are boring, and majority of them are repeats. And one of the side missions, which I thought was cool, was only used once, which is kind of a bummer because I thought they could have, used it a little more throughout the city to add some variety. Same with actually two kinds. You only encounter both of these kind on the first island. Another thing I found was that's also very interesting is the karma system. Yeah, there's a karma system in here. It's kind of similar to Fallout 3 or any kind of other game that uses a good or evil system. Basically, what happens is if you pick good, you can only get access to good powers and stuff, and evil powers, but it also changes the color of your electricity. So if you're good, it's blue. If you're evil, it's red. But also, if you pull off like good or evil side missions, you can only access specific powers. Plus, some of your default powers you have also affect how they are used in combat. So, like for example, your shock grenade, which you get again very early on in the game. If you're good, it will has a better time of sticking to its targets and can have a better blast radius. As if you go evil, if you throw a shock grenade, what happens is that grenade will actually go into actually little bits more, so you'll actually see clusters of them, so it can do much more damage. This is great if you're dealing with swarms of enemies. So another thing is, while you're fighting these enemies and while you're completing missions and also these special stunts you can do, I'm not going to spoil any of them, you're going to find them throughout the game, but you'll be earning experience points, and that's what you'll be using to get your powers, and basically redeem your XP for these powers. Some of them are fairly standard, like, take out enemies, complete stunts, as I said, or find blast shards or dead drops in the city, which, by the way, there are 32 dead drops and 350 blast shards. I do have an issue with the blast shards, though. While, they may be fairly fun to find, the game isn't very clear on which ones you have left to find. So, for example, you may find, like, 340. Where are the last 10? It's not very clear on that, so in that sense, I suggest you refer to a strategy guide or a video walkthrough if you can find them on the internet. Because I was in that boat, and believe me, it's not that fun. With dead drops, it's easier. It's a little bit easier. The only other thing I can have left to talk about is how it looks. It does look okay. I mean, models look great, the city's decent, but it's full of bugs. Now, I've asked a couple people that have inFAMOUS, and some of them haven't encountered these bugs, as where a few of them have. Some of the stuff I've encountered were I had Cole go right through a building and fall through the environment. Another instance was I was trying to grab something, and instead of grabbing it, Cole's head got stuck through the object. Not very cool. I also had an instance. There's also like some frame rate drops, which, occasionally happens. It doesn't get to unplayable levels, but it is noticeable. There are other bugs and stuff, like characters clipping. Like, characters getting stuck or clipping through objects. Same with Cole. Also, I don't know, there's a lot of glitches and animations, too. I mean, it just feels as if this game wasn't polished. Now, it does make sense for an open world game, but I mean, since Sony is like really pushing this as a first-party title, it's kind of odd that these bugs did make it in. It may not be that much of a deal for some of you, but if you actually sit down and look at it, then you're definitely going to notice this. Okay, yeah, one more thing to mention. If you did pre-order inFAMOUS, you got access to the Uncharted 2 multiplayer beta. The beta is actually pretty fun. I'm going to go into greater detail with it in another one of these I'll do later. But all I'll tell you right now is that the beta's good. It's a beta, so you'd expect some glitches and bugs, but I'm impressed with it. I never thought they could do multiplayer in the Uncharted universe, but hey, I was wrong. And I don't mind being proven wrong if it's done well. So with that said, thanks for watching. This is a great game. I suggest you go out and play inFAMOUS. If you don't have a PS3, I think it's a fairly good incentive to get one. But yeah, if you're still not sure about it, rent it first or get the demo, then make your judgments from there. Thanks for watching. I will see you all later.